1, 1 point.
Hello everybody, it's me, Dawn from Always in Stitches in Noblesville, Indiana. And I'm here again, jazzed up about this program. My favorite color is Moda. It's going to start January the 19th, and what we're going to start with is how to cut out all the pieces at one time. Some people like to cut a block and do a block. This program, we're going to cut everything for the quilt all at once. So I kind of wanted you to be prepared for that, because actually on the 19th, we are going to be cutting out the entire quilt. We may do it in 2 or 3 sessions so that you can take your time with it. But just understand, you can stop and start the video at any time. You can rewind. It's going to be on YouTube. Always in Stitches Noblesville is how you find us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel so that you always get notifications when we put up a new video. Every first Tuesday of the month is going to be the release of a block or 2. There are 20 blocks. You can see some of the blocks behind me. There are 6 colorways. You're more than welcome to come in and make your own colorway if you'd like. It's done with Bella solids made by Moda fabrics, of course. And here's the little book. And the cutting instructions are so good for this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through each step. On the 19th, we're going to start. But to prepare you for that, you're going to need to gather up some items, some notions to get started. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is your cutting surface, your cutting table. I did some research on YouTube or the internet or whatever it's called. And I found out that depending upon your space that you have available to you, that 4 foot by 8 foot is the kind of creme de la creme. Is that French? Did I just speak French?
Are you French?
No, I know I'm a Hoosier.
Well, you might have part French.
I might have to do one of them, what do you call it, DNA ancestry things. My goodness, that just flowed out of me like I can say French fry.
Do you have a French bulldog?
I don't. I have Schnauzers, German.
Okay.
But anyway, let's get back to this. 4 foot by 8 foot, depending upon your space. And then the height. Let's talk about the height, which is the most important part, okay? You don't want to be leaning over. You don't want to be sitting down. Some people, they have to sit down, and you make adjustments with your situation. So if you have to sit down to cut, just know that you need to take a lot of breaks, and that it's probably one of those things that you just kind of have to get used to. I prefer cutting standing up. When you have a cutting table, it should hit you at the waist or a little bit above. Mine at home hits me right here. And so that is just perfect for my hands to be. What angle is this, Peter? 45 or 90?
90.
Okay, that's a 90 degree. So there you go. See how if this table was just a little bit taller. Now you can buy those bed risers. I don't know if you've ever seen them or not. They're black and they're cone shape. And you can just take a regular table and put 4 of those, 1 on each leg, and it'll lift up a regular table just to about the right height. Well, depending upon how tall you are. Peter is super, super tall, and so he would maybe need 2 risers. I don't know.
I got one of those fancy adjustable leg cutting tables.
Oh, Peter.
So I have that popped up 39 inches height.
Wow, excellent. Well, depending upon the height of your person, that's what you want to look for, is something about waist high or a little bit higher. This one's a little low for me, but I can use it. I'm not going to stand here and cut for hours, so if my back starts hurting, I'm going to take a break. If my arm starts hurting, I'm going to take a break. It doesn't have to be a marathon cutting session, okay? Just keep that in mind. Average height of a cutting table is 36 inches to 36 inches to 40 inches. And mine at home is 42 in length 25.5 wide and 37 inches tall. So my daddy made it for me, and I love it very much. It's not as deep as this one, which, you know, you only really needed an arm's length away. What, I mean, you're not going to cut like that. That would be silly, right? So, and your mat, you're confined to the size of your mat. So let's speak about mats. You've got this self-healing mat. That means that when you cut into it, it doesn't just come apart. It stays together and it heals itself back. Now, you can wear them out, of course. And I have worn several out in my sewing lifetime. But get you one that is a good size for your table space. They make them as big as this whole table. But I don't see the need in that because my fabric is only so wide and only, you know, I can only reach so far. So the best size that I like is this 36 by 24. 36 by 24 self-healing mat. They come in all brands, all colors. They do come in all sizes. They have kind that turn around. You know, this one turns around. All you have to do is turn it around. So any of them will turn around. That's kind of fun. But I don't know. The industry thinks you need a rotating one. Well, then, if you want to spend your money on a rotating one, we have them. We have them. You're more than welcome to come and buy one. But this one will rotate just fine. You're going to see that when we start cutting out. So a good mat. If it gets old, if it gets lots where you're cutting in the same place over and over and it gets grooves in it, it's time to replace it. A good way to clean it is just with, you know, those sponges that have the little rough scouring thing on the other side. I should have brought one to show you, but I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. Well, use the scruffy side, especially after you've cut batting. Oh my goodness, that batting gets stuck down in those grooves and you want to get that cleaned out. Just take that scouring pad and scour over it and it'll clean it right up. So I love to keep one of those in my sewing equipment, one of those sponges with the little scrubber on the back side to keep my mat clean. Do not leave your mat out in your car because it will warp and then you'll be crying because you're going to have to pay for another mat. Mats are not cheap, so it's not good if you just go willy-nilly messing up your mat. You can fix them sometimes by putting them in hot water, taking them out, drying them off, laying them on a hard, flat surface, and like get the heaviest books that you have and make sure that it's nice and flat and leave it for 3 or 4 days. It might straighten it out, it might not. But that's some mat maintenance there for you, okay? But what I really want to talk to you today about is your choice of rotary cutters. There are literally thousands, well, maybe 30, but you know what I'm saying. There's a lot of rotary cutters out there. Ergonomical ones, that means, you know, it fits your hand good. Ones that are tiny, tiny, tiny. And then ones that are just mini. And then a 45 millimeter, I think, is the most common. And this is a 45 millimeter that has a lock on it, but it closes itself when you let go of it. Now, I'll tell you, this one's my favorite right here, okay? Right there, that 45 millimeter that you have to press. Now, there's no pressure. I mean, it's hardly takes any pressure to press it. But as you grip it, it just automatically, the blade comes out, comes visible, and you cut. But this is the thing I like about it. You lay it down, and it's closed, okay? I am the worst one with one of these. I click that thing back, I go cut, and I lay it down, and there it is open. That is not good. Oh my goodness, no. Don't ever leave your rotary cutter exposed. If that puppy drops off the table and you've got your toe under that table, oop, you're down to 9 toes and you can't count to 10 anymore. So you don't want that. 10 is a good number. So keep that in mind. These things come in all colors. You know, I just have to buy them just for the colors. These are exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. but I had to buy the turquoise one because it's so darn cute. I had to buy the red one because, well, my sewing room in the part of the house is red. So, you know, you have to have all the colors. Here, look, here's the purple one. Little different, made by Fiskar. These are made by Olfa. Here's one made by, it looks like Alexanderson is promoting this one. This is a 60 millimeter. It's a big, big, big one. The reason you would use this is if you're going to cut more than 4 layers at a time. If you're going to cut, or big puffy batting, or anything that has thickness to it, you'd want to get you a 60 millimeter one. And here is a 60 millimeter one that is just like my 45 millimeter one, and I have one of these at home because I do a lot of cutting of thick wool, that kind of thing. So I like to get my 60 millimeter out when I do that. Now, it's one of those things where it takes maintenance, okay? And so today I thought I would show you how to change a blade in your rotary cutter. Now, I'm going to turn these over because I brought several ones to demonstrate. These 3 all act the same. These 2 act the same. So you can see here, can you get up a little bit closer or not? How close are we?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, hold on.
There we go.
This has a little bitty lever that just clicks back.
Oh,
and when
where'd
it clicks
everything go?
back, the blade drops off.
You lost your pizza cutter.
Lost my pizza cutter. Now can you see this little dirt? You want to get that out of there. You might want to do it with like an old scrap of batting. That's what I cleaned mine with, but I forgot to bring it. And can you see how buildup gets on your blade? You don't really want to touch that too much, okay? And you don't want to touch it like this, but I'm going to. It's very dull. And so then this all stays in one complete piece. See that? So they all do the same thing. They all click off, and there's your blades. That one's even rusty. It's been a long time since I've used that little 28 millimeter. Okay, so those just flip off. These you have to screw off. So there's this big screw, and it's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Do we all know that? If you turn it to the left, you're loosening, and if you turn it to the right, you're tightening. And then it has this little washer that's kind of curved. It's curved up. And what I like to do is when I take my parts off, I like to lay them in the order that they come off. So then this would be next, and then there's this, and then there's the blade. So there's all my parts. So you can see this is a much easier setup over here where you just click it, the blade falls off, this piece falls off. To put it back together, you just simply, and you might want to wear those protective silicone
Chainmail?
chainmail.
Yeah, that's what the swordsmen wear to protect their hands so they don't get cut. Chainmail.
Do I look like a swordsman? No. No, I'm a crafter. Silicone finger protectors, I think they're called.
So no chainmail.
No chainmail. Oh, I know what chainmail is.
Yes.
Oh, yes, it's those links of chain. Oh, yeah, okay. No, you don't want to use those. So then I'm going to turn this back over to where the clip is, and I'm just going to lay that down and clip that back on. See how easy that was? So here's this. Don't pick your blades up like this. These are all really dull. I just got them. You need to clean it. I mean, you need to clean the blade. You need to clean. And then that just clicks right on. And then same thing here. You just, that one's kind of sharp because I don't use it as much.
You know, I've never done it this way, and it makes so much sense.
Well, you have to buy the rotary cutter that's like this.
Well, I usually take all the, I don't put the rotary blade, I usually put it into the rotary cutter as opposed to putting the rotary cutter over the pin holding the blade, and this looks so much safer.
Yeah, this is safer. Now this one's getting to be a little tedious. Oh, there, you got to line it up with that. Okay, and then because it's so little, it's tedious. Okay, then make sure that you cover them back up. Make sure they're all covered back up. Okay, Now there's that one. Now I'm going to change this one because I've been using this one a little bit. And what I've done is the blades come like this. Here's a single blade. They also come in 5 packs and 10 packs. So there's 10 blades in there. Only one blade in here. When I take out an old blade and I put on a new blade, I'll move this one aside. I'm going to lay that one down. I'm going to pick this one up. I'm going to put it in here. And on this, I'm going to write used. And then when I have paper to cut, you know, like scrapbook paper or any kind of cardstock or any kind of paper, then I'll put this in my rotary cutter, this little blade, and it'll still cut paper for a long, long time. So I usually just have a little pile of used blades. And I like to use a permanent marker on there, okay? So now I know those are used and I can use those for paper or crafting. So now I'm going to put this. This is an extremely, extremely sharp blade. This just came out of the package.
How sharp is it?
It would cut off your nose to spite your face. So I'm going to be very careful with this. I'm going to pick it up very carefully. I'm going to lay it right there on top of that. I'm going to lay the rotary cutter on top of that. I know I'm putting this back on the same way because that's the way it came off. And I'm putting this back on. And it's just that easy. Okay? Now, what if you don't buy this brand, this Olfa brand, and you don't get one of these nice little carriers? What happens then? Well, this one has an extra piece. This one has this little piece right here. I don't know why. I think it's because you can switch the blades from left to right. If you put the blade on this side, it's a lefty. If you put it on the other side, it's a righty. You see that? So that's what this is about. So I'm going to lift that up like that. I'm going to take just a regular index card. Maybe I'll take 2 because these are kind of thin, cheap. Got them at the dollar store. 2 index cards, okay? I'm going to take this old blade, lay it on the index card. I'm going to take some packaging tape, and I'm going to tape it to the index card. I'm going to fold the index card over. And I'm going to tape the index card shut. And I'm going to tape it on that side. And that's when I'm going to throw it in the trash. If I can't use it for paper anymore, if I can't use it for anything else, and I want to dispose of it, that way if somebody sticks their hand down in the trash, they're not going to come out with a bloody mess. This is just protects them. So that's a good hint for you to know right there. So now I need to put a new blade in this one. Again, need to clean it. Look at how messy, how yucky that is. That really needs to be cleaned. Okay, so get me a new blade out. It's always nice when you have some blades in reserve. And before we start cutting, I want you to have a new blade in your rotary cutter, okay? Now this has got 10 blades in it, and this is just super, super,
Oily?
well, they do have oil on them,
Sharp?
but be very cautious. It's super, super sharp, okay?
Danger.
Danger, danger, stranger danger. Yeah, dangerous. That's the word, dangerous. So I'm going to slide that on top. Now, if I wanted to put the lefty side, see, I'd put it on that side.
Oh, nice.
See how that works? But I'm going to put it on this side because I'm a righty. I'll put that little disc back on. I'm going to put my little washer on, and I know it's the right way up because that's how it came off. And if you'll notice, I want you to notice that it's not a circle inside. It's an oval. And my nut here, let me take it off so you can kind of see. Can you see that my nut has a little ovally shape to it? It's flat right here and rounded on this side. So what I'm going to do is when I put that in, I'm going to make sure that that slips over and lines up with those flat sides. And then I'm going to put my lefty-loosey, righty-tighty screw back on. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Get that on there just right. Come on, must have it upside down. Nope. Why won't you go on there? Oh, just wasn't holding down hard enough. There we go. Now, can I get it too tight? Well, yeah, you can get it too tight.
Always wondered about that.
Now, that is just causing me a little bit of trouble. Now, you stay down there. There we go. See how much nicer these are that just click on and off? Okay, now see, that's ready to go. Now, your rotary cutter, always the blade needs to be next to the ruler. See that? If I had it on this side and I was trying to use it, the blade wouldn't be coming down on the side of the ruler. Pick this one up, the blade's on the side of the ruler. Pick this one up, the blade's on the side of the ruler. Okay? So some of them, like this one, you can make the side come off on either side because of these little switches here. This pulls it back on this and exposes this side. This one pulls back and exposes on that side. So if you're ambidextrous, wow, that would be awesome. But this is a lefty or a righty, and that makes it really, really nice. And it has that clip in the back also. This one's just a standard, but instead of a slide, it has this little button. And then it has a lock on them. These do not have locks, these right here. This one has a lock. If you have little ones, that's a good thing. This one, this is a fancy schmancy. Here tells all about it. I haven't really read about it, but it's got a lock. Let's see. It's got one of those things that pulls back. So 60 millimeter. And then this one is just like this one, okay? So when you have 60 millimeters, you do definitely have to buy 60 millimeter replacement blades. Got that? Okay, so when you come on the 19th to visit with me on YouTube, ready to cut out your fabric, I want you to have a brand new blade in your rotary cutter. And then you'll say to yourself, why did I wait so long to change my blade? Because this is just heaven, and it's just going to melt right through that fabric, okay? So I want you to do that. The next thing I want you to have is only 2 rulers. We are going to cut out the entire quilt with only 2 standard rulers. Rulers that you should have in your arsenal at all times, okay? One is this 8.5 by 24.5. Now, if you have a 6.5 by 24.5, that would work too. No problem. I like the 8.5 just because it gives me more real estate. I can cut wider pieces, and some of these pieces are pretty big. So I chose, because I do have a 6.5 inch one, but I chose the 8.5 inch, and I could mostly cut the whole quilt out with this. Okay? But always when I cut, I like to have a square ruler because I love all the markings. And we'll get into that more as I cut out the quilt. But the markings, when you're cutting a square, having a square ruler, you get to have more points of correction when you're trying to cut that out and you've cut your strip and you go to cut subcut blocks. You want to make sure that they are square. Well, with a square ruler, it's really easy. This square ruler is 7.5 inches. Anything 7.5 up. So you could use an 8.5, 9.5, 10.5. If your rulers don't come in halves, don't worry about it, okay? If you want to come to with an 8-inch ruler and a 7-inch square ruler, that's fine too. I prefer Creative Grid. Can you get up really close to that, Peter, for me? This is the Creative Grid brand ruler. And the reason that I love this so much is because, first of all, the numbers are big. See how big the numbers are?
Easy to read.
Very easy to read. It has 1/8-inch increments, and it has these little grippy sand pads. Listen. See that? But it also has it all the way around the ruler. So when you lay that puppy down, it's not going anywhere. All right? Very, very nice rulers. Not cheap, okay? They're not cheap. Anything worth having, you're going to have to pay a little bit more for something that's going to last and something that you will use. I've had this ruler, I can't tell you how long.
How long?
I've probably had this ruler probably about 20 years.
That looks like you've had it for a while.
Yeah. Why is that? Because my name's all rubbed off. I always try and put my name on a ruler because when I go to class, if somebody else has
Everybody's
the same exact
rulers look the
rulers,
same.
Exactly. One thing I want to tell you about rulers. Don't use different brand rulers, okay? The width of the lines are different. The markings are different. Get used to one kind of ruler. I'm not saying this is the only brand of ruler to use out there.
I found that out the hard way.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
I have one long ruler that's one brand. My square rulers are a second brand. The lines are thinner on my long ruler. The lines are thicker on my squares. So everything was off enough that when I went to put things together, it was all cattywampus.
Right. So let's say, for instance, you were 1/16 off on this square. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16. By the time you get this sewn together, you're going to be 5/16 short if you're a 16th off. 16th is an itty bitty bit. You know what I'm saying? And the more seams you have, like look at this. Holy moly, Batman. All the seams in that, you'd be off a lot. So it does add up. And I know what you mean, Peter. I only have one brand, except for my specialty rulers. And we'll get into that next week. Not next week. On the 19th, before we start cutting the quilt out, I'm going to give you some more notions that you're going to need. Another ruler that I like when I start cutting out when I start making the squares and I have to subcut after I've made a half square triangle. This half square triangle, this one, and this one came from the one piece and I had to cut it in half. So I like to use my 12.5 by 2.5. And absolutely, I use those 3 rulers to cut out this entire quilt. The whole time, to do everything. That's the only rulers I used for the whole entire, all the blocks, everything. Except for one more specialty ruler. And I'll share that with you on the 19th. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's probably one that you all have. If you don't have it, you should have it. And you'll see why when we start cutting with it. Another thing I'd like for you to have ready when we cut together is a piece of cardstock that is 1.5 inches by
how did your cardstock come
15.
in all those colors?
Well, I'm going to tell you. By 15. 1.5 by 15. If you buy your kit from us, it's going to come with this already in it. And it's going to come with some other goodies. Okay? So if you buy your kit from us, we're going to have a special Facebook group that you can belong to, where we can show off our quilts, have a little community together as we journey along on this wonderful adventure. And the reason I want you to have this piece of, and you're going to have to glue it. I mean, I taped it. I taped it right here as a seam. And so I cut out two, my cardstock was like 8.5 by 11. So I cut 1.5 and 1.5 off the big wide side, and I glued it together. Just used a glue stick or Elmer's glue, anything you want. And then I made myself a little sample of my colors. There's going to be 10 fabrics. And so I just cut a 1.5 inch strip, but I didn't do it right away. I did it with my leftovers, okay? Because you don't want to interrupt your big, long yardage until you have a leftover. So once I had a leftover that was 1.5 inches big or bigger, then I chopped it out of that, okay? And so when I got done cutting number 1, all of number 1, I made me a little swatch and I glued it on. So also bring yourself a glue stick. That'll be good, okay? Any brand, any kind, it doesn't matter, but a glue stick so that we can glue these onto our cardboard. Like I said, if you buy your kit from us, you'll already have this inside your kit. So, Peter, can you think of anything else that they need to know before the 19th so that when we're ready to cut, we're ready to cut? They'll need their kit.
If somebody's watching this for the first time, how do they buy this? How do they get in on this? What do they do?
Okay, awesome. Here at Always in Stitches in Noblesville, we will have kits. It comes in 6 colorways, and we will have a kit for every colorway. And you can pre-order them right now. Jennifer is taking orders at alwaysinstitches1.com. If you want to come and get yours reserved, I'll tell you a little secret, the fabric's not here yet. But it's on its way. They've told us it's on its way. We're believing them. We hope it doesn't get hijacked because everybody knows how much fabric, everybody loves fabric. And so we hope that it gets here this week so we can get the kits made. And you don't need your kit until the 19th anyway, but it's nice to have it and love on it and kiss it. And you don't have to pre-wash it. If you're a pre-washer, then we're going to come back on as soon as we've got the kits ready. We're going to do another live video to tell you they're here. If you want to come and get them, you need them mailed to you, however that's going to happen. But as soon as those kits are done, we're going to be calling you. I mean, not calling you, but putting it on Facebook. And you come in, you pick up your kit. Your kit is going to have the instruction book in it, okay? And we are going to go page by page, step by step, and I'm going to show you tricks and hints and little ways of cutting the quilt out, making the quilt. You don't have to second guess anything. I'm going to tell you everything. And so I'm so excited about it because I'm finally going to get back to teaching. It's my favorite thing to do. I love to teach. Another thing I want you to know is my way is not the only way. I've been sewing 26 years, so probably 26 years ago, I didn't even cut out the way I cut today. You learn as you go, and you will pick up as you watch videos or go to classes or go to retreats. You'll pick up different ways of doing things, and you'll find what works best for you. But if you've never cut out a quilt, might as well start with me, the way I do it, and then develop your own style as time goes by. I'm so looking forward to this class.
Is there a place where they can see all the different color options?
On our website is on our website is a place where they can go. But I think I can show them here in my notebook. Here's all the different ones. Now you can see it's kind of ratty because I've written on it, but there they are. It's kind of little. Is there any glare?
I'm working around it.
You're working around it. Peter's so good. I'm hoping Peter does this one.
Keep hoping.
He's going to get excited.
Keep hoping.
He'll eat those words. So anyway, this is the one we're going to do. Oh, you packed up. But this kind of Christmassy looking one is the one I'm going to be cutting out for our samples and doing during the videos.
This one, they get to see another colorway.
Right, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is what we're excited about. This is what we're doing here in the shop. Waiting on this fabric. As soon as this fabric comes, then Hallelujah Chorus will erupt, and we'll get that kit made. And you guys, it's going to be a good class. I hope you'll join us. I hope that you had a wonderful holiday. This is December the 25th, 6th, something like that, 7th, 27th, something like that, of 2020. So why not start out 2021 with a wonderful project to look forward to every month. We hope to see you then. It's going to be the first Tuesday of every month when we start the blocks. But of course, like I've said, the cutting instructions are going to be on the 19th of January. So come and join us. We'd love to have you.